How the hell you fitting all that ass in them pants? What? Hey guys, Soulless Reviews here, and today I want to talk about the new Wiz Khalifa track, King of Everything. Now this track has been released for almost a week now, and I have seen it nowhere near any charts. So I'm a little nervous going into this track because it might not be all that good, but I wanted to listen to it because apparently these singles are leading up to Wiz Khalifa's next project, which is titled Rolling Papers 2, which is technically a sequel to his biggest hit album, Rolling Papers. And while Rolling Papers did have some questionable tracks on it with some more than questionable production, it did have some tracks that hit pretty hard, and I thought it was a pretty solid project overall, a very enjoyable, more like a stoner project, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very solid project. I actually own a copy of it. But more recently, Wiz Khalifa has seemed to go downhill a little bit, as his most recent project, Black Hollywood, was filled with some subpar tracks, and some okay tracks, and some alright tracks. Really not a good mix, and it was just not that great of an album. It was kind of a letdown. I mean, it really seems the only reason that he's clinging on to any sort of fame is because he was #1 for a while with that track See You Again off the Fast and Furious 7 soundtrack. And really, that was mainly because of its tribute to Paul Walker. Other than that short rise to fame, he's kind of been declining, and he did release another track before this, Burn Slow, with Ray Shremmerd, produced by Mike Will made it, and that track only survived for maybe a day or two before it fell into the pit of despair. I didn't mind that track, but I also didn't love it by any means either. I thought it was just okay, just scrubbed by with being okay. Here, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubter because, I mean, hey, this track could be good and just wasn't realized by the main audience because it wasn't, maybe it's just not a club banger, maybe it's just a solid track. I mean, that's very doubtful, but I have some hope for the boy. So ladies and gentlemen, I am going to listen to King of Everything by Wiz Khalifa, a very bold title, and then afterwards I am going to tell you guys just how I feel about it. So yeah, this track is a definite club banger, like there is no denying that. However, at the same time, it seems to fall in the same footsteps as Burn Slow, in that it saves itself from being bad, but it's not necessarily a good track. It just kind of falls as okay, kind of average. I mean, the production may have been the best thing on this track, and that's not necessarily something you want. You want the artist to stand out on that production, and really on this track, Wiz Khalifa just he can't bring himself above the production that overpowers him. There's a very ominous background, and then when the beat comes on, it's a very explosive beat, and it also drives very deep, with also some odd squeaky vocals that kind of resemble the background vocals on Mac Miller's Red Dot Music off of his Watching Movies with the Sound Off. Yet here they seem to be used in more of a more quirky manner. So the production wasn't like horrible, but at the same time it wasn't anything all that great. What would have made this song pop is if Wiz Khalifa came on with some great lyrics to really show that, I mean, the production, yeah, it's nice, it's poppin', it's a nice like club bang song, but at the same time I got some lyrics to tell you guys about. And that's where this track really falls short, like Burn Slow did. To me, this track has more to offer than the likes of Ass Drop or We Dem Boys, but at the same time, it's nothing all that special. His lyrics seem to still fall around the concepts of, I'm gonna smoke weed, I'm gonna steal your girl, and I'm gonna party when I want to. It also seems to relate in some of these newer songs to just kind of calling you out and saying you're not as thug as you appear to be. I don't really know who he's referencing, but that just seems to be a common line that pops up in his newer songs. Even the hook is a direct reference to smoking weed, which isn't a surprise from Wiz Khalifa. It's just something that I'm a little disappointed in hearing, because I feel like he could have made this a little more explosive of a track, especially with that kind of title, but in reality, he just kind of took us through his everyday basic lifestyle, which is him partying, smoking weed, etc., and didn't live up to the potential he could have had on this track. And this is kind of a stretch here, but what I kind of saw in the more listens to this is, yes, the lyrics are kind of simplistic, but if you want to stretch for some kind of subject on this, you could say that Wiz Khalifa feels like the king of everything by living out his ordinary lifestyle. He gets to do all these crazy, exotic things while you're just sitting at home doing nothing. He's probably out driving, racing his Ferraris at a wild house party while you're at school probably doing a math test. Which makes him feel like he has strong empowerment and he's a king over everything. But at the same time, as someone who enjoys music or somebody who wants to hear some good rap music, this isn't exactly something you want to hear. It's a stretch to make his lyrics relatable back to the main topic of this song, when in reality these lyrics are very formulaic to that of Burn Slow. And the more times you listen to this, the more times the production, that hard beat that's very explosive at the beginning, more it becomes into realization that it's there to trick you and to think you like to turn up to the song, when in reality Wiz Khalifa is just spitting the same old stuff that he has been spitting, and it's just nothing new, and the beat is just there to try and make you turn up to it and get more mainstream play, when in reality it's just nothing all that special. It just wants you to trick you into thinking that you like it, like Hobson said on No Word Skit, except you can actually make out what Wiz Khalifa is saying. So to an extent, I didn't enjoy this track, but it just scrubs by with being passable. After you've heard it a couple times, there's really no reason to go back to it other than the fact that if your friends want to turn up and you're like, hey, I know a good Wiz Khalifa track that just dropped that, I mean, it's pretty stupid, but we can turn up to it at least, then maybe there's a reasoning to listen to it. But other than that, this track just wasn't all that great, and I just hope the sequel to his pretty decent Rolling Papers album just doesn't turn out to be a huge flop. And yeah, this isn't a track that I would recommend all that much. I mean, maybe check it out once just to kind of get a sense of the direction Wiz Khalifa is going in for this next project, if you like Wiz Khalifa. But if you're a hip-hop fan in general, then this really isn't that worth your time. And if you like music in general, then this really is just a very skippable over track. It's nothing special. And yeah, that is all I got for you guys. If you would like to like or subscribe, that'd be awesome. Really appreciate it. And till next time, Soulless Reviews.